Just wait for this to load up and make sure the frame is holding up steady and solid, and looks like it is. Hey everybody, my name is Ahdoom, and welcome to another exciting episode of Let's Play Darkest Dungeon. Now, I'm trying something a little bit different this time around, in which I am going to be on Twitch live for a change with this playthrough. I've tried to fiddle around with Twitch before, and I've had some issues with settings and sound quality, and I hope that I've managed to fix most of these things offline. Frame seems to be holding up well with nothing dropped as yet, so let's hope this is all going to work out in the meantime. If you happen to be on YouTube right now, you will not be able to catch this video. Obviously it's been uploaded post hoc, but I will try as best as I can to include you, as I always do in any game. In the meantime, if you are people that watch games on Twitch and you like watching Darkest Dungeon, you like watching my Darkest Dungeon, feel free to add me. Again, it is just Ahdoom, the same name as the channel, up on Twitch. In the meantime, it's time to get into the game as proper, and this Sonorous Prophet has been allowed to live for far too long. Far too long indeed, and I think it's time for us to do something about that. In the meantime, we have a couple of different characters that we've selected that we haven't yet had a chance to trinket up, and so we'll do this in the stream and on the YouTubes just to make sure that everything is working fine. Again, we've got a Hellion here who's just level 1. We picked her up fresh from the stagecoach. We have a fantastic Crimson Court trinket for her to rock, which is the Lioness Warpaint. We might choose something else to help balance out her general squishiness, but we're going to probably start by backtracking onto the Plague Doctor, where we have a plus 15% to, max HP and an increase in disease resist. Absolutely fine for me, and since this guy isn't afflicted, he's not going to get any benefit from any of these other abilities that fall below the cut there. We might also look at increasing his stun chance just to keep him competitive. Next up, we have the Occultist, who is a level 2. Don't have anything that's incredibly compelling for the Occultist as far as trinkets, so what we might just try and do is, again, buff him out, make him a bit less squishy, and look for things that are going to help keep him competitive, which are probably going to be increases to heal. Don't want to actually increase his stress levels as far as I can, because that's going to be a bit regrettable given the lack of a Jester, but these guys are all pretty low stress in any case, which is just fine by me, and in any case, I'm happy to keep these guys relatively flexible, so let's try and drop in Junior's head. It's going to increase our stress, but it's going to be okay. Let's come back to him later and figure things out. On the bounty hunter side of things, we had some fantastic trinkets. Actually, we still do, I should say. 2 speed, 10 dodge. I was afraid the shrieking bird of doom had taken that away from me, but they haven't fantastically, unfortunately. Let's see what else we can do to help him out. Again, he's quite squishy as far as things go, so I might just drop yet another Martyr Seal. Alternatively, I could increase his dodge even further and give him a better chance to disarm, which I think I will do, just to keep a spare Martyr Seal for the Hellion. Yeah, that looks good. Got 1 free slot in place we haven't yet used. Could drop a Camouflage Cloak, and that isn't too bad. Plus 15%, plus 15 dodge is actually pretty awesome. It's actually fantastically epic, so we'll actually keep that on if we can. Looking through things, stream health seems to be holding up okay-ish, and that's good news. No frames been dropped as yet, so I will stop talking about Twitch and focus on my core audience, which is all of you wonderful guys on YouTube, since no one is actually on Twitch watching me right now, because I am new and unpopular. Oh, one thing I forgot to do, before I actually jump into this, again, we've got 4 guys now with all their trinkets. One thing I forgot to do, which is very, very important, I traded away a whole bunch of heirlooms, and it is now time for us to do a district upgrade. So look through here and see what we can do. It was going to be the Puppet Theater to increase idle stress relief by 10, and I am thrilled to be doing that. Let's drop that in place now. Construct this building. Yes, sirree, Bob, don't mind if I do, and that district is now up. It literally looks like a puppet theater. It is a puppet theater, and hopefully the stress levels we have on guys that are passive should be going down more progressively as time goes on now. It should save me a bit of money in the long term and help keep people sane and happy and under control. Yes, 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 that is fine by me. All right, let's embark back. It is the Sonorous Prophet. We do have our trinkets, and it is time for us to provision up and get out of here. Don't need to worry about any blood in this instance because we are just killing it the old-fashioned way. We'll pick up 2 holy waters because those can be quite useful in the ruins. Also pick up 2 medicinal herbs, 2 keys, 2 shovels, torch, and 4 food, and 4, and do the usual swap around on those to make sure our inventory slots empty out exactly the way we want them to. And it's time to embark out and get in the quest. Indigits. Okie dokie. Well, that's ever so slightly ominous as far as these things go. Okay, so this is going to be a fairly clear-cut one. I'm guessing he's going to be over here, which is the furthest point away from things. Yeah, that's going to be happening without a doubt. In the meantime, let's consider what we're going to be doing in terms of abilities. Do a quick double check to make sure we haven't forgotten anything, because I've been approaching this video in a bit of a different way to the way that I normally do. Look, these are all the abilities that I want. Everything is just fine and dandy. Let's press on and see how we do. Might need to double back, not sure, should all be fine. Again, we have an Arbalest and 2 Rebels, and this should be fairly easy to do. I'm going to actually start things off with a Demon's Pull, just to get that Arbalest in closer reach to us. See if he takes that move. No, he doesn't. Alright, that was a pretty poor showing, but we can stun him to keep him out of action for one brief moment. That took fantastically, and he's been denied a turn. Next up, we're going to probably start doing pistol shots. Yeah, I think so. Chance for an insta-kill doesn't quite pay off, but it's okay. These guys are all pretty low lobies on level 1. Nice kill done, and bump the knight back on the Hellion. 5 damage taken, which is relatively significant for a level 1, but I think we're going to be able to survive this just fine. We'll drop an Abyssal Artillery on this back chappy just to make sure that we can get the kill in this turn, and then finish things off with a pistol shot. Yeah, that should do it. Oh! It shouldn't do it. That's deeply alarming. All right, Blight now to get the kill. That's regrettable, but it happens from time to time. These guys are all lobies, and we can't expect to get insta-kill first shots every single time. Nice bit of gold, nice bit of blood, and no complaints made by me. No sorry, Bob. All right, pressing on through. Going to skip that stack of that bookshelf because they never end well. We have a battle room with 2 courtiers and 2 rebels, but we have the element of surprise in our favor, which works just fine for me. Let's start things off with an Abyssal Artillery, which is a good way of opening these guys up to start off. 5 damage on both, only 5 hit points left, which is fine. And in fact, this might well take them out. All right, fantastic. Do those blights take? Yes! Okay, so they're both dead. I can just disregard their existence completely and focus on damage from the Hellion. Don't need to worry as much about Iron Swan now, so being in position with the Hellion is just very ignorable, to be honest. Bone Rabble, insta-kill, well done. And next up, we've got a Riposte active and a chance to get a kill of the Hellion. Let's do it. It's done, and the round is ours. Boom. Cleaned up. Cleaned up. All right, free torch and a nice amount of gold. We'll shuffle back to first positions and unlock that strongbox. Contents of mine, and it's some pretty small change, but never going to say no to gold, especially at this stage of where we are in our playthrough. 2 curios and a trap, followed by an empty room. No walking furries there. A few heirlooms pick up, and busts, I imagine, could be useful, but they aren't critical for me at this particular moment. Some free torches as well, and that trap is coming up. Going to take that chance on the Hireman, who has the chance to take no stress at all. And again, we are rocking literally 0 stress on everyone. What we'll do, though, is go back into Radiant as we enter this empty room and wait for a scout to come through. If it does, which it has not, and that's perfectly fine. Let's press on through and see what we have to find. Just a pack, which is already looted, and we'll keep our inventory open just in case we need to interrupt. Oh, it's a trap! 7 damage taken, but, you know, them's the wages of sin from time to time. Keep our torch level high, because that's how we play. And let's grab that unburnt torch. Jolly good. Press behind this door and see what we have in store. Alrighty, pack of spiders. These guys can be pretty slippery, so I'm not going to get overconfident if I can avoid it. No sorry, Bob. First thing to do is very much going to be opening a vein to try and get an early insta-kill. That's going to invalidate the position of the Hellion, so it really is relatively irrelevant. A riposte is going to be more useful. Let's try it out on position 4. Great, that's an insta-kill. Done, and dusted. Thank you very much, RNGesus. Next up for us is going to be either a stun or a heal, and I think a stun is worthwhile given the risk those spitters can play at times. Do a wicked hack on the front position there to get the kill. Nicely done. And then all we have to do is worry about this final chappy, which I think a sacrificial stab can definitely take care of. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. And yes, it can. Spitter is out of action for the term, and it is now ours. Let's go in for a weird reconstruction. 7 up, which is exactly what we need. We are topped up nicely, and no bleed as well to show for it. Minor heal on the Hellion as well, just to try and keep her topped, and let's take this guy out. Done. Absolutely fabulous. Good haul of everything. We're probably going to say no to a single portrait in favor of the gold and do a quick juggle of the old inventory. But with that said, we can probably get rid of that anti-venom, and yes, we will. Let's check this unlocked strongbox and see what it has in store. Ooh. Now, thinking this through, that's an increase of accuracy reduction in max HP. I'm probably not going to be using that. It's only a common. The question is whether it is worth swapping out one of my current items. Those portraits are useful, but they aren't super uber useful, and I can probably live without them. Same token as well, I can probably live without the medicinal herbs as much as they can come in useful. Let's go for the gold for the moment, or for the time being at least. Is there anything I can do with those medicinal herbs? Answer is no. Let's shuffle back to first positions and keep things going, pressing on into this unexplored corridor. We'll keep our inventory open as well, just to make sure. First hunger check comes through, which frees up an inventory slot. No complaints there. Again, it is timely for these things to happen. And let's carry on. Ignore those books, because bookshelves just give me problems. Again, I'm a big book lover. I'm a book reader. I voraciously devour paper, but not in this game, and that is for sure. Now, before we start this combat, in which we have a courtier, an acolyte, a brawler, and a bone defender, I'm going to take a sip of my delicious Japanese single malt. Delicious whiskey. Not for the young at heart, but very much for the old at me. Let's get things started with an attack on the bone courtier. Chance for insta-kill, but it's pretty unlikely. Oh! Thank you, sweet pain Jesus, for making things right in the world. Could try and get a damage done on the back row, and those blights are pretty worthwhile, and in fact I think I will. Done, and Dunsky. Oh, that incision is out of position. I might have to reconsider the abilities I have locked up. Let's try up the sacrificial stab though, just to make sure we get the kill. He has 6 HP left, which isn't going to be quite enough, and unfortunately I'm going to have to invest more than I want to this turn to avoid avoid stress damage. Oh, it's a dodge! That's regrettable. Alright, XSplit on the Highwayman, riposte. Dodge and damage, exactly the combination that I want to be seeing every single time. Stressful incantation on the Hellion, 1 damage taken, plus a pretty respectable amount of stress for level 1. Dodge and riposte, the combination I always want to be seeing, and what I'm going to do this turn is also torch up, so that the curio I have, that is, the cloak is, is useful. Probably do a point blank shot at this stage, because that acolyte is already dead. Boom shakalaka, that person is gone. Resist in place on the move though, but there shouldn't be a problem there. We can all do damage. We can all do damage in just the right way. Unfortunately, that one was a miss, but we can try and make things good. Unfortunately, this incision is useless out of position. Might need to swap into a different ability, predominantly, well, probably either the frontline blight or the almost any position stun. Probably do a frontline blight. Well, for the moment, it's going to be a stun, I imagine, because that's going to be the most useful. Do a minor heal on the Hellion. It's the best of all the available options, which is, after all, what Darkest Dungeon is all about as far as games go. Get some damage on the Bone Defender and get ready to take him out in the next turn. XSplit, though, on the Man-at-Arms, dodged and killed with the riposte. Absolutely fabulous. Love this game. Love this game and love this game. Citrines, we can probably afford to leave. That pile of cash is going to come in handy, but what can we do? Let's leave those things be. Look to unlock that locked sarcophagus, and we are kitted for bear. Again, gold, and I'm in the ruins, and there's a chance for me to scout out a secret room, so I'll keep that key and forego that gold, but I will need to progress onwards, downwards, further and further on into the Darkest Dungeon towards where I think the boss will be. Grab a free torch as we go, and let's keep our eyes open for any traps. Instead it's a pack of bloodsuckers. Alright, a gatekeeper, 2 supplicants, and a sycophant. No worries there. We'll try a stun, even though we know it's not going to work on the supplicant, just to make sure that that unfortunate benighted sycophant doesn't get a chance to do us any stress damage in the first turn or buff up to its next state. Great dodge from the occultist as well there. Probably going to look at neglecting a duelist advance for the turn, just until we take out the final position. Go for the gatekeeper if we can. 9 damage, that bleed won't be enough to get the kill there, but that's alright, we're in a pretty good place regardless. Abyssal Artillery in the back row, just to spread the damage out. 6 and 6 is a nice start, and Predigestion goes down. Dodge like a boss, and now it's time for that Iron Swan. Oh! Not quite good enough, unfortunately. Predigestion goes down to the occultist. 1 damage taken, and probably a blight. Yep, that is something which we can't always escape, but that's fine by me. Let's look at our next best option, and again, chance to actually take a blight is really limited, but the stun chance is comparatively high for these guys. We will take that chance. We will take that chance. Let's try for another stun. Hope it takes. Alright, it takes where it counts, and that's the important thing. That's fine by me. Okay, some damage coming through from those blights will drop yet another Abyssal Artillery. Alright, that Sycophant is finally gone, which means we should be confident and safe in activating our riposte ability. Take out that Gatekeeper to make sure he doesn't try and flee and bring more problems to me, and we'll take out the Supplicant to deny them a turn. Alright, this is all being fairly handily done. We're playing things by the numbers, we're being conservative, and we're getting the outcomes we want. Great riposte strike there, and because our FAF abilities are somewhat finite, we'll just point blank shot and reset back to first positions for the kill. Lovely stuff. Now the question really comes down to what we can afford to give away, and the reality is our torch situation here is actually pretty darn good. So I'm going to throw out 2 torch in exchange for 350 gold. I think that's a good call. In fact, I can't think of a better one. Alright, pressing on through, it's time for us to check behind this door and see what we have in store. It's an empty, but we do get some scouting, and that may well reveal or confirm our boss bash. Yes, indeed, the Sonorous Prophet is not long for this world. Now, I could have camped before I left, but I'm not going to for the moment because we're actually looking pretty fine from a health standpoint. Again, just a stack of bookshelves there, which aren't really of huge concern to me. Let's torch up, do a quick double check to make sure there isn't anything that we can do to avoid any particular or pernicious damage, and the answer is a big fat negatory. Let's get in there and see what we can do. 105 HP, which is an awful lot at this level, but we can probably make do. Calamitous Prognostication goes down on these guys, and the best choice we have at this stage, given his Sun Resist, is start applying some serious damage over time. Alright, that's going to be 5 damage, which should stack for a good while. Iron Swan on the back row for 11, and we're doing a decent job of getting some hits on this chap. Now, 36 life on the Hellion. She's in a better place to take these kinds of damages, so we'll definitely do this now. Activate a riposte, sorry, get a dual advance going, activate a riposte, and get things working in our favor. Not much we can do, unfortunately, for the occultist, aside from either doing a weirder construction to up his life by a maximum of 5. Again, your move resist is impossibly high. It's not going to happen under any circumstances. Or, look, let's do a weirder construction and try and make ourselves a bit more survivable. Yeah, let's do that. Up by 7. Okay, we're buffing ourselves as far as we can go. No bleed as well, which is just fine by me. 81 hit points left on this chap, and he will get some damage from the... Yep, okay, Rubble of Ruin, and that's now dodged. It's, again, completely fine by me. Forgot to change the abilities on, the Plague Doctor, but that doesn't worry me because the loadout that we have is still the best of all the available options. We will take probably a decent spread of damage, but with that subject number 40 notes, I think we'll be fine. Let's keep blighting down this chap, getting some damage done every single turn, and again, we can't do much aside from point-blank shotting that pew in the front. That isn't going to move, but, you know, it is what it is. Okay, given our current health situation, I think I'm fine to drop an Abyssal Artillery. It's the best of all the available options, 5 and 8, and again, I'm not too worried about where that 5 particularly dropped in, even though it's actually relatively conceivable that we can take this out. And in fact, to get the gold, we might actually want to be focusing on taking out the pews early on, but I just want to make sure that I've got the Prophet under control. Fulminate goes down, and a riposte should activate. Nice. Alright, and those blights are not ramping up, fortunately. Rubble Ruin goes down, and it's 19 damage on the Plague Doctor, so my occultist turn is definitely going to be occupied. Golly gosh. Okay, so nothing to be too worried about as yet. Nothing to be too worried about as yet. I could try and clear some of these blights, but I'd rather just keep stacking that damage over time on the Prophet on the back row. What I will do, though, is activate another Duelist Advance. Only 5 damage there, but nothing to be sneered at by any measure. And we need to drop a weird construction like no one's business on the back row, up by 17. That's exactly what we want to be seeing. That bleed damage is considerable, but we can survive it nonetheless. Ion U goes down on the Hellion, which adds some stress and stuns him, unfortunately. That is actually really regrettable, but again, that Hellion's turn would be irrelevant unless the... 18 damage, but a riposte came through as well. I am getting worried about the life level on him, and I'm definitely not going to be moving my my highwayman unless I absolutely have to. Again, this is a kind of a concerning situation. We've got 14 HP left on this prophet. I can't do anything meaningful with my Hellion aside from trying to take down the front pews, and it's kind of a futile task, but we'll take the hit on her regardless. What I will do, though, with the Plague Doctor's turn is cure... What's your hit? What's your life at? What's your life at? Let's do a quick hover. 4 damage. Man, that is poor. Can I afford to take 1 damage? Look, it's not going to make the end. It's not going to make a huge difference. What we will do, though, is drop 1 more blight. Make sure this prophet is a goner. Not worry about min-maxing this to the absolute and extreme. We'll drop a weirder construction here, though, just to make sure that this guy is going to survive through. And 17 is nothing to be sneered at whatsoever. We're actually looking pretty damn good. We might even be able to take out one of these pews and get ourselves some free cash. Nicely done. And that prophet is dead, 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 and buried. Thank you, RNGesus, for this kind beneficence that you've bestowed upon me. It's a pretty good stack of cash, to be entirely honest. We'll definitely pick up the 2.5k, and we'll probably leave off the key. Yes, all right. Blightstone is worth more than, well, that jade. I'm probably going to pick up another Hyman's Buckle. We already have one. It's kind of a bit of a waste, but I don't mind picking up a second. We'll also find a way of covering the cost of the holy water. Is going to keep the food, going to keep the torches, absolutely. Going to keep adventuring as well, as much as that might not be the most advisable thing in the world to do, because when we have the chance of doing great, we're going to do that great whenever we can. We have a long walk back to the beginning. Not going to get down into no light, but we will allow our torch to dip down overall. And let's press on. Let's press on bravely. Okie dokie. Empty torch sconce there. Just keep on going. And if you'll excuse me, guys, for just a few seconds. Just going to make a quick change to some Twitch-based stuff. Done, done, and done. I hope that actually takes. And in fact, I'm going to make a couple of... Well, I'll try and do 2 things at once. That never works out well at all, does it? No, it doesn't indeed. Sorry for the silence there, guys. I just wanted to try and change some settings and check some things on Twitch because I would normally have gotten a couple of views by now, and I haven't yet. And that could just be because we have some really, really awesome Twitchers who are playing this game tonight. And if they are, more power to them. But yeah, it's always nice having someone else to share this game with. Again, my wife and I, we have many, many things in common, but games are not among those things, and so accommodations have to be met for my hobbies. Have a corridor battle coming up, which is just fine by me. I'm not going to worry too much about amping up the torchlight, because these guys will be pretty low level. Yep, 2 cutthroats and a fusilier. I'm pretty confident I can take these guys out and make a healthy profit in the process. Don't have to worry about position 4, so we can do a duelist advance without consequence. That is 9 damage done. This guy only has minimum of HP left. I'm going to drop a blight on him, and he will be dead in his first action, which is just fine by me. Next up, we're probably going to look at a sacrificial stab on somebody, or I can drop a heal, and a heal is actually the one thing that I'm missing. Let's do that. Only 0 and no bleed. So at least it was just a turn wasted, rather than 2 steps forward and 1 step back, or rather 2 steps back and no steps forward under any circumstances. Go for the kill on the cutthroat if we can, and that works out to a T. And uppercut slice drops down. 4 damage taken, 8 damage returned, and that's just fine by me. Hoping I get a chance to actually... No, I don't. That's regrettable. I'm going to have to actually do some faffing to make sure that we're in a good place to heal up on that Hireman, and we'll try and get another weirder construction up by 17. Man, either it rains or it pours. Shank goes down, and it's 4 damage and a kill. I'm much happier with that health situation, but that bleed is regrettable regardless. Right, bit of free gold there, and everything is still stacking up nicely. Let's press on down and see how we go. And carry on regardless. That bleed will keep taking some damage off of me. We only have enough food left for a single food check, but I'm okay with that. Before I leave, regardless, I will absolutely be doing a camp, and in fact, this is the place that we should be doing that in. Let's make things happen. I can eat 4 food for stress increases, for health increases. Don't mind if I do. Next up, we'll prevent ambushes and increase our chance of surprise. Not going to worry about health levels too much. We'll take care of stress levels, though. You're rocking a pretty high stress level. And who else? Who else has an anti-stress? All right, down here. Yep, you're rocking a pretty high stress level. I could buff myself. Got 4 points left. Alternatively, I could look for a all-over stress. No, just a singular stress reduction. That's not amazing. 1 heal. Heal. Remove disease, less stress. These are all pretty mediocre. I'm going to be in position 1 a lot of the time, or alternatively, I'm going to be, more accuracy and damage and crit is just all good all the time. We'll use that instead, and let's carry on. We know for a fact we aren't going to be getting ambushed by anyone, so we'll just press on regardless and see what we have in store. Can't take many hunger checks, as has already been pretty clearly made clear, but we can potentially survive either a bleed or a blight. Let's see who has a really high bleed resist. I'm guessing it's going to be, probably the occultist I'll be taking this chance on, but we'll check the plague doctor. Blight's higher. This is the most balanced. Stashed loot, jolly good, and oh my god, look at those. I'm glad I stopped by. And a bunch of bloodsuckers, but we get the surprise on them, which is fine. We are in Radiant Light as well, which makes everything just dandy. Try to get some strong damage on that sycophant to avoid taking any stress if we can help it, and that's just fine. We've got a riposte active. Keep forgetting to change these bloody abilities in the Plague Doctor, which is really darn regrettable, but that is neither here nor there. We will try for a Blight, even though they have a fairly high resist, and it does not take on either of them, which is regrettable. Abyssal Artillery goes down, and does an okay spread of damage there. Next up, we're going to do a Wicked Hack to make sure we take out that sycophant, but he dodges, and that's a crying shame. That's it. He tries to drop the Thirst down, dodge and riposte to death, and everyone will shuffle forward by at least 1 position. Predigestion goes down to the occultist now with some minor damage, and no blight fantastically. Predigestion this time on the Highwayman, 4 damage and a good riposte, but that blight does take in this instance with 6 damage to come. Predigestion again, dodge and a critical riposte. Absolutely fabulous. That's exactly what we want to be seeing. All right, let's try and get some kills in now that we're in the right positions. Start from the back and work our way forwards. Boom, that one is done and dead. All right, let's take care of the front position there as well. Boom, that one is done and dead, and we are looking just so fancy. And we've taken care of everything. Now, depending on what they drop, I'm probably going to be quick calling time at this point. Wow, that's a pretty good haul of blood. But we're going to press on just a little bit further. Just 1 more room, I think, and we should be good. Yep, we've got a battle in place. Born. I forgot to change abilities again. Bone Courtier, Madman, and then Soldier and Defender in the mix against me. Going to worry about the back row at this stage. So, okay, let's try for the insta-kill on the Courtier. It won't happen, it's only 5, and that's just fine. At least we have a riposte active. We will drop a weird reconstruction to open things off on the Highwayman, though, to make sure that he does not die an unwanted and unwelcomed death. And next up, we will take the chance for an insta-kill on the Bone Soldier, which pays off nicely with some stress reduction in the play as well. Ooh, 3 damage and a bit of stress on the back rows there, which is fine by me. We'll probably drop a stun on these guys to keep them out of action for as long as we can. Nicely done. And Axe Blade goes down the Hellion. 3 damage, a bleed. Nope, no ill effects whatsoever. Now that these guys are already stunned, we'll drop a Blight so they can take the maximum of damage. That Courtier is already dead, which is just fine in my books. And that Madman is not in a position to do me any damage at all. In fact, I think I can get the kill now with the Sacrificial Stab. No, he dodges, and that is deeply, deeply regrettable. But nonetheless, we can probably finish things off now. Great. No stress taken, and no stress given. Just death. Only ever death. Point blank shot for 13 damage, and this Defender is down to 2 HP, and Deadweight might kill him off. Yes! Wonderful job, ladies and germs. Wonderful job. Alright, now we have no food. Shovels we've got. Sapphires we've got. Should I press on for just a little bit further? Should I try for just 1 more room? Let's do 1 more room. And if this doesn't work, then I have only myself to blame. Let's keep our inventory open. And we have another bunch of Bloodsuckers, a Gatekeeper, 2 Supplicants, and a Sycophant. Maddening Wine goes down early on, but that's just fine by me. I do need to keep my Iron Swan available, so I'll start things off with a bleed strike on the gatekeeper, but he dodges frustratingly. It's fine. Again, it's fine. It happens. It happens. What we will do, if we can, though, is drop a stun in place, and hopefully that will take at least on the sycophant. Yes, it does. That's jolly good. Jolly good indeed. Let's open things up as well with an Abyssal Artillery just to get some damage going. Unfortunately, that mosquito survives. 1 damage taken with predigestion and no blight, which is fine by me. Enraged Slight goes down, but the Plague Doctor dodges like an absolute boss. Oh, predigestion. They just really don't like him. But again, he's just resisting everything left, right, and center. Let's go for the Iron Swan. Not enough to kill, unfortunately. Only 9 damage, and at least this mosquito won't get a meaningful turn. With this Abyssal Artillery drop down and a good spread of damage. Alright, what is next? What can be done? Chance for a Blight is non-existent, but we'll give that chance a shot regardless. And it takes! It takes. That Supplicant is dead and buried in his next turn. Let's start doing some damage to that Gatekeeper and hopefully finish him off with the Hellion. Dodge again from the Plague Doctor, and my god, he just floats like a butterfly and sings like a bee. This is outstanding, and we are done and Dunsky. Everything is looking fabulous. Dodge on the part of the Occultist, and point blank shot now with 10 good damage. Not that that move is going to count for a bean of difference with the construction on the Plague Doctor, just to be sure, and that tops him off nicely, and we'll do a minor heal down on the, well, minor heal for a crit. Wow. And this should be the round. Nice. What do we get? Okay. Decent stack of golds. I'm going to call time at this stage, I think. The question really is whether we want the gold or whether we want the busts, and I think it's going to be gold for us today. Thank you, sir, and thank you kindly. Let's get that done, and let's get out of here. As I quit out, I just realized that I could have just dropped those shovels as well to cover the cost of buying them in the first place, but you make mistakes sometimes in this game. As long as you don't make them too often, you're going to be just fine. About 15 to 16k of gold coming through there, as well as 12 crests and 6 busts. I'm sorry, I should say 18 crests and 10 busts, as well as 1 portrait as well. Not a bad round by any measure. And let's have a look at some of the quirks we've picked up. Okie dokie, we've got Ruminator on Malbis. Monty has jumped to level 3 and is now a Wheeled Explorer, and Duval is a 3 with Claustrophobia and Fast Healer. These are all very livable conditions, if I don't say so myself. Alright, so I'm probably going to call time in this episode now, because we're sitting at about 32 minutes. But if we do a quick run through what's happened, Brimu is no longer masochistic, and she's down by 55, which still means she's carrying quite a bit of stress, but I can live with that. Achieved Enlightenment, and he is now enlightened, replacing Fear of Mankind, which is a pretty good swap, but still somewhat concerning, and Desurres is again pretty high on the stress. But we can live with those stress levels, as opposed to what we had before. Dud Hitter and Tippler have both been removed, which means Buron, who was formerly freaking the hell out, is looking in a much better place now. And I'm not sure whether I'm going to be doing anything to reduce his stress for the moment, or whether I'm going to be relying on time to heal those particular wounds, given that we have to take out the Baron in the next combat, and that guy proved to be a pretty heavy hitter. In the meantime, Brimu has controlled his urges, as has Bosk, Donger, Pouchot. Buron is thirsting, and Bellicott has drunk a vial of blood, which is just fine. We gain 2 every turn. It seems like we've only drunk 1, and we found 4 in the dungeon as well. Alright, and that's the round. No other bonus abilities in place. Do a quick check of the... Oh! Do we have any level 0s to fire? We do not. Do we have any irrelevant level 1s to fire? We kind of need a low-level healer, and we have a singular. We have a singular Vestal who's in level 2, which will survive me for a few turns. That said, if I look through the Stagecoach upgrades, we are already fully stacked, but I want to be leveling up. I want to be leveling up Flagellance if I can at all help it. So Montbray, while you were appreciated, particularly your quick draw, before we do anything, let's make a quick check on Monco. Fear of the Unholy, Dud Hitter. I can live with both of these with Manslayer, but your abilities, actually you're up to level 2 already on everything, which is just fine by me. Yep, Montbray, you are fired! You are fired! And Monco is now going to be Buron's apprentice, as a level 1. What I'm going to do as well, while I've got this in train, is make a quick change that I should have done before Duval. I know I can do this at any time, but sometimes you get forgetful, and in fact, I'm going to unequip all of these. It is chain, chain, heal, front row blight. Done. Done, 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 done. Very, very nicely done. And let us do a quick check to see if there are any curios or trinkets we need to take care of. You know what? Let's just do a double header. Let's just do a double header. Why the heck not? Why the heck not? No, no, no. There are too many options. We have to consider our choices. It doesn't make for the best viewing, and I can always start this Twitch again in a few seconds because no one is watching. I'm not that loved. I'm not that popular, and that is completely fine by me. Once again, guys, for everyone on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. My name is Ahdoom. If you want to catch this video, if you want to catch these videos every day, hit that subscribe button you should see on your screen now. If you'd like to catch the playlist from the beginning and see how we've ended up in this horrible state, push that playlist. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really have a lot of fun making these videos. I hope you have a lot of fun watching them. If you have, hit that like button. And in the meantime, I'll catch you guys next time.